I'm going to apologize up front. Brad Bradley and I had us mic'd up. Yours truly didn't test out. He went on good faith, and the phone mic picked us up, but not the actual mics. So score one for someone who is not technologically sound. But Brad Bradley talked about others who are technologically sound. We talked about the media and how it's growing. We talked about social media. And Brad Bradley talked about quarterbacks all the way from Gilmer County to Lord Botetourt to William Campbell to Heritage. And we talked about coaching staff changes for next year as well. Brad Bradley said to me in the offseason, hey, I'll talk about whatever you want in the offseason because, during season, obviously people are focused, and I try to be respectful of that too. And I'm not going to talk about, off-season stuff at length, history stuff at length during season. I have enough respect, and I also have enough respect to listen because last interview, Brad Bradley said we always had Cokes and Milky Ways. So Brad Bradley got some Cokes and Milky Ways via yours truly. Hopefully Brad Bradley got a good time via yours truly too, as Brad Bradley talks high school football here on the Sports Buffet podcast. We talk about people getting to know them behind, not just talking about, post-game stuff and everything. A lot of people clamored for more Brad Bradley. So here we go. Quick topic before we talk about quarterbacks, which is going to be today's topic, the media. You seem to have had a good relationship with the media, and I know a lot of guys like Ben Cates and so forth and so on, you've grown to like.
Yeah, I think that media is one of those necessary evils. I don't mean to call them evils, but, I feel like that you get guys that are going for the right reasons. They're trying to, give exposure to your kids, give exposure to your programs, do those kind of things. I think it's great. One of the things that we started here a couple years ago, was the media day.
Yep.
And I think that's awesome because I think our kids get a chance to experience something that they might not ever experience again. They get a chance to sit up in front of radio stations, TV stations, internet people, whatever, and get that kind of a media day experience. That's something. I think that's something cool. And I think that the biggest thing about the media, especially in football, unfortunately, a lot of the other sports don't get the coverage that football gets, but it's a little bit different sport. I think it just makes it special, especially when they get done with the game, they get to go in there, they get to watch Friday football,
right.
Friday Football Extra, whatever it is. There's all kinds of stuff. There's all kinds of stuff always leading up to the game in the paper, so on and so forth. But I also think media's changed a lot. The newspaper's not near as important or near as big as it used to be. Kind of look what happened to Ben Cates. They let him go and kind of downsize the whole paper.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think you're getting a sports article like once a week. They don't cover Friday night games until Sundays now.
Right.
So it's changing. So like people like you and radio and people like even StewView.
Yep.
Devin.
Well, that's the way it's going. I think more of the video documentaries.
And to me, he kind of changed the game.
Yeah.
He came up to me about 3 years ago and said something about wanting to work with us, and I was like, most definitely.
Yep.
I said, I'd really like to get our kids in front of the camera for more like practice in front of the camera, and he took that to a totally different level. He came in and basically did a documentary on us in 2020. I guess it was 23 or 24, and then covered us all year this year, and has obviously been a part of our media days. He's been a part of some different things like that. We're doing some stuff for our middle school kids here with the class of 2030 here after spring break with him. His coverage, the way he kind of kids can reach out to him and they can put little highlights together and they can get those posted on there, and he can, he covers all of our events, track, basketball, football, wrestling, a little bit of everything, middle school sports. So I think that's kind of changing the game.
Yeah.
And then you got people like, Renee, which is more photos.
Right.
She's been our photographer here for, since 2016, I guess, 2015, 2016. So, we try to be loyal to her, try to go with her with anything that we do picture-wise. And, actually we're changing our picture company to where we're doing fall pictures and stuff like that, sports pictures through Renee.
Right.
But, yeah, I never really had a problem with it.
Right.
I have been involved with media, how they kind of can be, a thorn in your side also. When I left PH back in 2009, there were some articles that came out that were not exactly true when I went to Amelia. And 2008, I guess, no, it was 2010, 2011. And, So I had to check them on it a little bit. But I'll be honest with you, man, I've been here for 14 years in Lynchburg, and every sports writer I've ever had, including obviously Ben Cates, unbelievable. I can't remember the guy before Ben.
Ted Allen.
Ted Allen, great guy. Still see him every once in a while.
Yep.
I think he still works for. He still works here locally, like in Lynchburg.
Well, his kids went to JF.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But didn't he go to, isn't he at LC?
I believe so. Liberty
or somewhere like that.
Yep.
And I see him a lot of times, but he was always fair.
Yep.
I really respected him and the way he covered our stuff here. And it's not just about covering heritage. I just feel like that, every school in this area needs to be covered.
Sure.
Kids spend a lot of time doing sports, and one of those things is, believe it or not, man, kids love media.
Right. Well, it's Seminole District Media Day, too, not Heritage Media
No.
Day, because everybody, every coach brings two players, everybody's covered. And, even back when I was covering you guys with William Campbell, you can't just play yourself. You got to play the other team, too.
Well, I mean, cool story about media at William Campbell. When I first got to William Campbell, we hadn't done as well. And got there in 2000. I'm not sure what the record was in 99, 98. But they dropped for a couple of years. They'd been pretty good before that. And then had about 2 or 3 years there in between, not very good at all. So when I first got there, no media was there. I mean, nobody coming out to Maruna, right? Why would you drive out to Maruna for 3-8 or 3-7, 2-8 football team? So our motto was, we're going to make them come to us. Like, we're going to win enough games here. We're going to get in the big games. They got to come to Maruna. So every time we saw a TV truck from Channel 13, Channel 7, Channel 10, Fox or whatever, WFXR, coming across those tracks, man, that was an accomplishment for us, because nobody was coming to Maruna.
Right.
Maruna's not right down the street from WSET. You got to go get on there 15, 20 minutes away. And out of those Roanoke stations, they got to go all the way to Maruna. So we always said if we're bringing people to Maruna, then we won some football games.
Yep.
We're playing in big games. We're playing the regional championship games. We're playing the state semifinals. We're playing the state championship games. And fortunately, we had a good run there. We were 92 win. I think we were 92-20 for the 9 years we were there. And played in big games, won 2 state championship games, hosted that I know of 2 state semifinal games at William Campbell. I think we hosted 6 regional championship games when I was there. So we made things big, that's our motto. We want to make sure we put ourselves in position to play big games. I say that every year, and part of a big game is having a big media crowd there. Nowadays, with the independent photographers and the video people and this and that. I mean, look at our EC Glass game this year.
Yep.
It was crazy how many people on the sidelines. Being the athletic director, I get requests all the time now for, hey, we want to do this, want to do that, and you want to do everything you can, but at the end of the day, not everybody that has a camera can get in free.
Right. We got to say no at some point, too.
You got to.
Yeah.
And, but it's one of those things, and you kind of look at our regional championship game against LCA this year. I mean, I couldn't even count how many camera people on the sidelines. You go and you look at big games. You look at the Glass Heritage game this year. There was a lot of people. So media is definitely a huge part of it. And then, if you're going to talk about media, you got to talk about social media.
Yep.
And I'm not a person that believes in how do I want to put it? Self-promotion. Like, I think if a coach feels like they have to promote themselves on social media, then they probably are not worth promoting. Right? Coaches have nothing to do with this thing.
Right.
It should be about kids in your program and so on and so forth. So you see some of these coaches make little videos of themselves and put it up there. Like, nobody wants to see the coach; they want to see kids. So I don't really post myself. I post things about my program on X. We have our own page on
Sure.
X, and I run it through my name, through athletic director / head football coach. I don't really have an Instagram page for football. I just use my personal one. Basically, the only thing that gets posted there is some things about football and my dogs.
Yep, all dogs.
And then I don't have Facebook.
Right.
We'll never have Facebook. And, that's about it. And I don't really have anything else. But we try to, anything we do positive, we're trying to put out there. We go to help out at a field day. We're going to help out at a prom, Laurel prom. Our kids are doing Laurel school prom. And our kids go over there and help out with those kids, go to prom. We're going to career day at Bedford Hills next week. We're doing some different things here and there. We're trying to get that on our social media page, because I feel like that's good for the kids.
Right.
It's good for the program. It's something that promotes the program. But what we're not going to see is a lot of self-promotion. You know what I mean? In
Right.
terms of coaches or this or that. We want to focus on the kids, focus on what's going on. But social media can definitely be good, but we all know social media can be negative too. I'm not big into social media, and I use it, but I use it at arm's length.
Yeah, and I think, you've made me think about it too, because anytime you're talking to the coaches, you want them to get to mention players or past players or, because if we do 30 minutes of just talking about Brad Bradley, what's that doing?
Yeah.
So anyway, but yeah.
Yeah, I just, nowadays you're starting to see everybody posting stuff about themselves and this
Right.
and that. Some of these younger coaches, I'm just like, I don't need to be seen.
Well, even when we were broadcasting William Campbell football, it was on a delayed basis.
Yeah.
And I remember, too, that, not a lot of people are doing radio at that point for schools now.
Yep.
Or then. Now,
Yeah.
everybody's got a radio station. So,
Yeah.
anyway, let's talk about some quarterbacks you've had. Who'd you have at Gilmer County?
Joey Frazier. Joey Frazier was a young man that played for me in 1996 and 1997. Joey is now, if I'm not mistaken, he I'm not sure his position in Gilmer County, but he's held the position of head baseball coach. They actually won a state championship under Joey Frazier. And I'm not sure, but he's working somewhere for Gilmer County school system right now. Joey was, I took over at Gilmer County. They had won one game in 4 years. They were 1-39. And my first year there, we went 3-7. And then the next year there, we went 5-5. The first non-losing season in school history to that point. About 4 or 5 years ago, Gilmer had their first winning season in school history. Maybe 5 or 6 years ago, they ended up winning 10 games. And actually, the head coach at Gilmer County now, Tommy Hamrick, was one of my players back in 96 and 97. But anyway, Joey took over in 96, and we were, when I first got into this thing, I listened to my dad. Hey, we got to run the eye. We got to get underneath center. We got to have a tight end. We got to do this, got to do that. Scored 0 points in my first 2 games. 0. Got beat 40-0. Total 40-0. 20-0. 20-0. Got beat 20-0 by Hannah High School in just Podunk, Cal Country, West Virginia, and then got beat 20-0 by Williamstown High School out near Parkersburg. So we had a week off. I put the spread in. Kind of went back to my Rich Rodriguez days. Put the spread in, and we ended up winning 3 games out of the last 8. Right, and we lost 2 of those by less than 8 points, and we lost 2 of those by less than 2 points. So we were competitive. We competed in every game after that, and we had a young man named Eric Butler. Eric Butler was a wide receiver. Eric Butler actually at that time, now it's been way broken since all the stuff going on now, but nobody was really throwing the ball back then, right? So Eric Butler had like 66 catches in one season, and set a West Virginia state record. Next year, Joey comes in, leads us all the way. We're 5-5. We missed the playoffs barely, but our last game of the season, we beat Braxton County for maybe the first time in school history. And the year before that, they beat the crap out of us. And we beat them 14-7, had a goal line stand with no time left on the clock. And we beat them. They were 8-2 or 8-1 going in. And had held, in West Virginia, ranked 1 through 16, so they were ranked like 2 or 3. Knocked them all the way down to like 6, 7. And we didn't make the playoffs, but that was a great way to end it. And pouring down rain, mud, had a nice Pete Rose slide afterwards, whatever. But Joey was my first quarterback. Unbelievable kid, unbelievable player. Turned the program around at Gilmer County. Has been involved with that program athletically ever since in that community. And then after that, went to Botetourt and had Josh Alavito. Josh Alavito probably would be considered one of, if not the first spread quarterbacks in this state. When I came here in 2000, nobody was spread. Excuse me, when I came here in 1998 as an assistant at Botetourt, offense coordinator, nobody was spread. We were spread the whole time. We never once went under center the whole 98 or 99 season at Lord Botetourt. Botetourt had been very good. In 2 years there, we won 14 games. We were 14-7. We missed the playoffs my second year and went 7-3. That's back when you had to earn the playoff spot. It ain't like now you can go 2-8, get in the playoffs. You had to earn the playoff spot. So the first year we made the playoffs, got beat by Rustburg, which ended up winning it that year in 1990, or maybe I think Rustburg won in 99. Right? So they were pretty good in 98. So 98 they beat us in the playoffs, and then 99 we didn't make the playoffs. But we won 14 games, and Josh Alavito was a huge part of that. Josh, passing-wise, had an unbelievable year. Couldn't run very well, but an unbelievable year. Then I had a kid the next year named Anthony Ford.
Let me go back to Alavito real quick. Did he pick up on the spread pretty quick?
Definitely did. A little bit different than I am now. We like to run the ball a lot more now. We didn't run the ball all there.
Right.
We didn't have a very good. We didn't have a lot of running backs. We had one named Justin Green, and Justin got hurt, was back and forth hurt. So we in the Rustburg playoff game in 1998, I think we threw the ball 73 times.
Okay.
So we were way different. We're talking about Joey Frazier. Joey Frazier, and the first win we had, my first win ever, at Worth County High School. September 13th, 1996. We threw the ball 73 times. We won 20-6. Right? So I mean, we threw the crap out of the ball. But the next year, about the time 1999, I had a kid named Anthony Ford. And that's kind of where the offense that we have now kind of was born. Anthony was a kid, that could run it and throw it. And we put a little bit more quarterback runs in, not near what we have now, but we put some quarterback runs in. We did some things. I got a chance to watch it's on YouTube. I got a chance to watch a game scrimmage versus Narrows when I was at Botetourt in 1999, and I don't think I ever ran the ball. We just threw it the whole time. But that year, I don't know his stats and all that kind of stuff, but Anthony had a really nice year. We kind of had a lot more balance on the run pass, a lot more quarterback runs. Then it all changed in 2000. I get the head coaching job at William Campbell. I moved Shea Boyd as a sophomore to quarterback, and then we rewrote the record books.
One of the most underrated quarterbacks in my mind around, because Shea Boyd started what I've seen of the Bradley spread.
If you go
Shea
and
Boyd
you
was
look,
that guy.
If you go and you look, the first quarterback to go for over 4,000 yards in the state of Virginia under the technically VHSL is going to be Vic Hall.
Yeah.
But Shea Boyd got robbed on that. Shea Boyd came out of Matthews. I can't remember Matthews State semifinal game in 2002. It had like 350 yards passing. Well, some way they messed up his stats when they turned him into Virginia. But he only ended up with officially like 3,991 yards. But they missed about 150 to 175 yards at that Matthews game. So he should have been 4,100 yards plus. I don't know exactly what it was. It's been a long time. But Shea was a guy that threw for over 3,000 yards his senior year, 36 touchdowns, 6 or 7 interceptions, and ran for over 1,000 yards.
Yep.
So this dude could play, man. He was unbelievable. Had a great arm, could run the ball, could get those hard yards, and just one of the most total quarterbacks I've ever coached in my life. He ended up winning a lot of games for us there. We won the state championship there in 2002, went 14-0. So he won 14. His first year was 7, so there was 21. And then the next year was, I think, 9. So he won 30 games in 3 years. That's pretty good.
Shea picked it up pretty well, too.
Shea was very smart. These kids loved the spread. Spread hadn't really been in.
Right.
I mean, nobody was running spread then. Now everybody runs some type of spread. But back then it was going to be single wing, wing T, I, double tight, power I, whatever it may be. But nobody was spreading it out. So, yeah, Shea picked on it real well. Then, you can stay at William Campbell, man. You can't talk about William Campbell without talking about Barron Adams.
Right.
Young man that also won 30-plus games for me in his career. Danny Broggan.
Now it went Shea to Danny, right?
No, it went Shea to, I can't remember.
Sorry, I didn't mean to throw that.
Went Shea to Tank Elam first.
Okay.
Tank Elam started for a year, and then Danny, and then Barron Adams.
I'm going to tell a Danny story real quick and get your comment on it. I remember after one game, I think it's when you went to West Virginia, and I want to say maybe Kaiser. I can't remember, but somebody said to Danny, you only completed 5 passes tonight, and Danny's like, we won, didn't we?
Yep.
And I'll never forget that moment.
Those kids didn't care about
Yep.
stats,
Yep.
and that was what made us so good at William Campbell. I might coach this game another 15 years, 10 years, and I might not ever have the kind of kids I had at Campbell. Forget the athletes. They were great athletes. They were great kids. They didn't care about stats. They didn't care about who did this, who did that. That's why we were so good a football team. We won 92 games there in 9 years, and, not one time did any kid ever ask me what his stats were. And I didn't keep stats. I kept them. Don't get me wrong. Let me take that. I didn't keep them. I didn't put them on the doors. I didn't do anything. Like, they didn't care. Like, they did not care. They only cared about a general scoring. Now, after the season, they're going to see the stats. They're going to get on each other. Hey, you got this, you got that. Matt Barber was the only kid that William Campbell ever cared about his stats. Now, he was a great team player, but he loved to hear about his stats. But those kids, no, they didn't care, man. Probably one of the best athletes and I've coached a lot. Great ones, Cedric Pierman, Elijah Davis, but one of the best ones, forget Shea Boyd, forget all those guys, is Vernon Vassell. Vernon Vassell was probably the most athletic kid I've ever coached in my life at William Campbell. And he quietly, against that Matthews team, I think scored 4 touchdowns that day. Scored, I think, 27 touchdowns on the year. Just unbelievable stats. Never once cared.
And Vernon was a receiver.
Vernon was a receiver.
So he's benefiting off that spread.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he ran the ball some. He was one of the first times we had to run it. When Matt Barber and them came around with Danny and Tank, we kind of went to more of a slot run game.
Yep.
We don't really do much anymore, but they did. Matt changed the game with that. Matt had probably 800 yards rushing as a receiver and 800 yards receiving. So he was almost 2,000 yards total offense and did a great job. But then, so it was Tank Elam for a year, and then Danny Brogdon, and then Baron Adams. And then actually in the middle of that was Bebe Adams, because Baron got hurt beginning of the 2008 season, and Bebe had to start quarterback against Thomasville, North Carolina at William Campbell. That was back, man. We played some teams back
I remember
then.
that.
We played Thomasville. We played Magna Vista.
Moorhead.
We played Moorhead. We played Bluefield. Out of West Virginia.
Yep.
We were one of the first ones to schedule Central Lunenburg back when they were winning state championships, and they never beat us the whole time. Chippy Chapel is in the Hall of Fame, but we gave them 4 losses. We would schedule pretty much anybody. We had the honor to play Strasburg twice there. We were 1-1. They beat us in 2001, and we ended up beating them in 2002. Well, I don't know if you saw any of the stuff about this year, but Glenn Proctor, one of the coaches in the state of Virginia that has over 300 wins, one of the most winningest coaches in the state of Virginia. He was a coach at that time. We played some daggone good football.
That's when we started broadcasting you guys on the radio, because we'd come in on the playoffs, and I remember Riverheads was a common opponent. It seemed like in the playoffs, because wasn't Riverheads the one where the kid?
Riverheads was actually state champion in 1999, and in 2001 we went down there and beat them.
Because that's when the kid had died, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, he did. And we offered to play the game on Saturday, and we ended up playing that night, and we beat them 17-7 after 3 called back touchdowns, because we're playing in a different place. But great win for us, and first win at William Campbell, and our first playoff win at William Campbell, and that next week we ended up getting beat by Strasburg 35-33, and then the year after that we beat Strasburg at home, and then won the state championship. Then after that we made pretty good runs from then on.
First quarterback you had here?
Oh, Javante Parrish.
How did you pick up on the spread?
Unbelievable. Probably the best one at that point in time. Probably the best running quarterback other than Danny. Totally different than Danny. Danny was a bruiser. Danny could get those yards. I'll never forget, there was a time at Nelson County, Danny had a sports groin. And we said, all right, we're going to try to run him like maybe 6 or 7 times tonight. We ran 29 for like 250 yards. I mean, it is what it is. But Javante was different. Javante was a slasher. Javante could pull that ball down. Did a great job throwing the ball too. Led us all the way to the state championship. We were 12-2 that year. Our only losses being to, Briar Woods, which is one of the best teams in the nation at that time. And then we lost to Brookville on a last-minute field goal. We lost that game, so we ended up 12-2. After that, kind of bounced around quarterbacks a little bit. Perry Comer was a quarterback for a little bit. Cameron Burns, quarterback for a while. I did have Carrington Anderson was a really good quarterback for us. He came in, and then his senior year he moved to receiver. Actually, his junior year he moved to receiver, and we started Jabari Blake.
Let me interrupt real quick and get back to the spread. Is the spread an easy offense to pick up on?
I think all offenses are difficult in its way, but I think the spreads, it's a lot more for a quarterback because everything comes through the quarterback.
Easy for the quarterback or difficult?
I think it's harder. I think it's harder because if you're just running the eye or something, you just got to hand off the ball, right? You got to hand off the ball and you got to do your play actions. With spread, everything comes through you. So I think you do have to be a smart quarterback.
How hard is it for the line?
I think spread in general is hard put together. Everybody's got to be on the same page. It's not just down, kick out all the time.
Is it easier for one than the other, or no?
No, I don't think so. I think everything has its difficulties. Okay. I think that also, as coaches, we make it too difficult sometimes. And just we like to let them play. You know what I mean? And Coach Eric does a tremendous job for us up front, but sometimes I think we make it a little bit too complicated. Let's just go play, right? And I think the less we think, the faster we play. But I think we've done a really good job of marrying the O-line with the skill guys, with the quarterback, with the running back. We all get on the same page, and it's that's the greatest thing about my motto. It's been my motto since I got to William Campbell in 2000. So for 26 years, it's been together.
Yep.
And that's what we do. You play together. Our defense is the same way. Everybody's got a job. You perform that job, and that's how it goes.
In the days of Larry and Burhead, your linemen were more 3-point stance.
Yeah.
Spread, is it a spread?
We've got
or
some 3-point stance, and we do some 2-point stance, but it's just different because we got to be able to see where linebackers are adjusting to. We got to be able to see different things. It's not like we're just going to be down in a 3-point stance and down, kick out.
Right, but is it lineman evolution? Is it an evolution of linemen, or is it the spread where linemen are more stand-up stance?
I think spread because I think kids are way more athletic than they were back then too.
Right.
I think linemen today are athletic as can be.
Yeah.
I mean, you got linemen. I mean, you got linemen that are just as athletic or better athletically than some of your tight ends, wide receivers, and linebackers. So I definitely think they complement each other.
You had Hope Bateman, Aiden Slash.
Well,
too.
we had Carrington Anderson.
Yep.
And then Jabari Blake. Jabari played for us for 2 years and led us to a state championship in 2018. And then we had Cameron Burns come through here. And Cameron Burns doesn't get enough credit. Cameron Burns almost won 30 games in 3 years. Did it quietly. And, probably doesn't get enough credit. Cameron was a huge part of Heritage football and the wins we had there for 3 years. And did a really good job. And then, that was 21, 20, and 19. And I think because of COVID and some other things, he didn't get enough credit. And then Hove came in, 22, one-year guy, and took us all to the state championship. Had a great year. Been scary kind of maybe what he could have done, if I'd had him the whole time. But had a great year, ended up going to Bridgewater and had an unbelievable career there. And then we got Slash. Slash is our quarterback for the last 3 years. Coming into this year, it's probably a huge question mark right now on who we got as quarterback. Right now our JV quarterback was a kid named Torian Walker, but that's not a guarantee right now. We also have a young man, Daryl Alexander, coming out of the 8th grade that has a chance to play for us this year. So there's a couple options, a couple kids in our team that might have a chance to move from wide receiver to quarterback. My belief is you take one of the best athletes, you take your best athlete, you take your best leader, and you take your best competitor, and you put him there. Slash might not have been a quarterback by height and weight and all that kind of stuff, but man, you pound for pound, there's not a better competitor. I mean, it's an unbelievable competitor. It reminded me of Baron Adams. Like Slash and Baron Adams were the same kid. They both maybe not as tall, maybe not as strong as arm at the end of the day, but man, you didn't want to play against them because they were going to do everything they could to win the game.
Do you believe in chalk talk?
In terms of
bulletin board, drawing up plays.
Oh, I mean that's what. Yeah.
Well, I know you do, but I mean, my point. I'm getting to a bad question. My fault. The point I was getting to is in the spread. Is it better to draw it up or to do the reps for the kid? You think, or is everybody different?
Oh no, I think you have to board it and then practice it. I think you got to be on the board and then go practice it. Nick Saban and all that. You teach them. You don't take anything for granted. You got to show them on the board. You got to drill it in practice, and then you got to play. So you and we also don't like to run meaningless drills. A lot of young coaches just like to run drills because they see them on the internet. Hey, I'm scrolling through TikTok, I get a cool drill. I mean, I'm guilty of that too, but the drill's got to make sense. The drill's got to make sense, and what that means is the drill has got to make sense because it's got to be something that they can carry over in the game. If you're just doing a drill to look pretty, it's not going to help you. You got to do something that's going to carry over in the game. So we want to chalk it or draw it, drill it, rep it. And when you chalk it, you're drawing it up, make sure they understand it mentally. When you're drilling it, you're drilling that aspect of it, and then you're going to rep it when you're going to rep full reps in practice in the game situation.
Final thing, and we'll talk about this more later too. I always appreciate it. I remember at one point, you have never been a coach speak guy. You are always very honest guy. But I remember one time you told me, best back we've ever seen, talking about Daniel Babb.
Daniel Babb was
Franklin.
a really good back, man. Now,
and I was like, yeah, right.
I've been coaching a little longer now, and obviously Gideon Davis was a really good, running back for LCA, so that was since Daniel Babb. But Daniel Babb was a very, very, very good running back, and probably didn't get enough credit because he was a single A running back coming out of Division I, but that young man, pound for pound, was a beast.
He was carrying guys because you guys grabbed onto him, and I mean, I don't want to say couldn't bring him down, but he
was good.
He dragged people, so
he was good. He was great.
Yep. Well,
I do want to say this. We're talking
please.
about quarterbacks. We've now recently, I'll be putting it out pretty soon, but we'll be naming Jabari Blake as our quarterback coach in 2026. So we're going to bring him back as a quarterback coach here in 2026. I think that'll be great. Give Jabari a chance to get on staff and give our kids a chance to learn from a guy that's been there in the trenches and state championship quarterback, and gets to give back. At that point in time, I'll then have Zay Goog, which played for me on staff. I have Frankie Hickson, which now was on staff last year, but now is at the Cumberlands as a running backs coach. And then we'll have Jabari Blake here. Trying to think who else I got.
A bigger asset playing for you or playing the position with Jabari? Because Jabari obviously played
I think both,
quarterback.
man. I think both. I think he's going to have a great understanding of the quarterback position. A lot of the same system stuff we did back in 2018. He was Q. He knows a lot of the terminology. But at the end of the day, I think it's great for our kids because he played college football.
Right.
He played here. He's got a little understanding of what's going on. So I think it's a win-win on both sides.
I always think it's an asset if you can speak Bradley when you play for Coach Bradley to have that guy to teach you what Bradley wants as opposed to what football means.
Yeah. Well, the longer I get into this thing, man, it's not about – it definitely ain't about coaches. One thing about me, and I've been very lucky. I had my first head coaching job at 22. I GA'd for Rich Rodriguez, and before that, next year's going into my 29th year coaching. I coached for 2 years at Bottop. That's 30, 31. All right. And then I coached for Rich Rod, so there's 32 years. So I have 32 years experience. I've been lucky. I've been the head coach or offensive coordinator. But I guess one of the things, the older I get, it's not about titles. I might be the head coach, but, man, I got my staff is the one that does this. Dan Washburn on defense and Jay Ferris, they freaking believable. The way they do things and the way they prepare our kids for games. Coach Eric on the offensive line. Corey Davis. This past year, Ben Alexander, unbelievable, job with the special teams. And then Corey Davis will now take over our special teams coordinator next year. So you got to have great coaches, man.
And kids
win games. Coaches lose games, but you got to have great assistant coaches. And I'm lucky. I got a bunch of guys. I got L.G. Parrish, been on my staff for 15 years, JV coach. He ain't never tried to ask me for a promotion or this or that. And I think that my coaches will tell you I let them coach, and I want them to coach. And it ain't my team. It is my team. I am the head coach. No question about that.
Sure.
But I don't want to hire yes guys. I want to hire guys that want to get us better and want to work our kids and want to do things right. And I'm very lucky, and I've been very lucky since I've been here.
Final thing. We'll do it again down the road. Is there something I should have learned from you over the time because I've been with you in a certain way now for about 23 years. I will stick to my guns of kids win games, coaches lose games. Is there anything that should override that for me?
I just think coaches probably take too much credit for this profession. At the end of the day, you can be Vince Lombardi and you ain't got very good athletes and you're going to lose. Or you can take a group of kids and they can have great attitudes and you can win some games. But, in 2002, it'd been easy for me to take credit for that. Man, that was the best football team I might ever coach. And it was just my job to organize them, get coaches around them, put them in the right position, but they had to go make the plays.
But I think that's one of the best teams ever, too.
It's kind of like electric football.
Yeah.
Remember electric football?
Yep.
All right? You put them in position, and hopefully you got them in the right position, and then you turn it on. The only difference in real football is you put them in position, but you're hoping that everything you did Monday through Thursday or Sunday through Thursday or Friday through Thursday leading up to that next game has them ready to play and make that right play. So I think sometimes coaches take too much credit for what these athletes do. These athletes are, like I said, coaches lose games, kids win games. Man, it's an unbelievable sacrifice what these kids do. The weight room, the 7-on-7s, the camps, the practices. They got to get humbled. If you play for me, you're going to get humbled. You're not going to be able to do things your way. You're going to do it our way, and you got to understand how to become part of a team, and all that. Yes, coaches have a lot to do with that, but also kids have a lot to do with that. And I just think that sometimes coaches, I see some of these younger coaches and maybe little league coaches and this and that take way too much credit. Man, it's the kids, definitely the kids.